Hey y'all, and welcome to Mystic Thoughts, the official Mystic Unigon podcast. Episode 3, Relationships. I almost wasn't going to stream today, but when I realized, oh, it's Valentine's Day, why the hell not? Because what I'm going to do with future interactive podcasts, we're going to have the wheel thing, but we're going to go a little bit further than just putting a bunch of topics on the wheel. We're going to have categories, and there'll be topics under those categories. Because there's a lot of things under all those that we could spend time talking about. So, I just kind of quickly, half-ass, designed the ornament for our podcast tree. Oh, Alligator Loki's not on top, but that's okay because you can't really see anyway. And I moved the other one up. I'm gonna put them where you can see them during, and then afterwards I'll scooch them up near the top, and then I'll slowly work them down. I took him off for Minecraft pixel art kind of reference, but he's still sitting right here with me because he's my new official favorite buddy. But you'll get to see that at some point, since I did figure it out and finish him. So, relationships. Now, let's go way back to childhood. As a child, I know I, as well as just about everyone else, discovers what relationships are. And pretty much the first ones we have are the ones with our parents, provided we are raised by our parents. And then when we're exposed to that box that sits in the living room, known as the television set, we start to develop attractions towards the people we see on screen. We've all had childhood celebrity crushes, myself included. Now, if you're not, one that got really much chance to watch TV as a childhood, then you don't, then you lived a sheltered life. You're not really missing much, but you're only missing stories that you could tell in the future. Because, hey, one day your grandkids might ask you, who are your celebrity crushes, Grandma or Grandpa? So I'll admit mine. I have that thing to admit, and a confession, which is not a very positive one, but that's something that, needs to be said. So my celebrity crushes when I was younger, I don't remember exactly which one came first out of the first two that I have, but I will say that Richard Dean Anderson, MacGyver, was definitely one of my first. And I found out I'm not the only one, which thankfully for that. The other one was Stephen Baldwin, who played Cody in the Western TV series known as The Young Riders. I don't know what attracted me about his ponytail back then for that show, but something did. Something did. I think I had some other, kind of celebrity crushes, with the Power Rangers. I'm trying to remember who I thought. I guess I thought Tommy was the cutest. Like a lot of people did. I did kind of think Jason was too, but at the time, obviously. But the final biggest celebrity crush before I officially became an adult, was David Duchovny because of X-Files. And I know a lot of people can relate to that one. X-Files is still, in my personal opinion, the best show of the 90s. And David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson just had that perfect connection. They made the show amazing. Granted, it sucked when they were not in it for those last seasons or whatever, but I still watched it. I stayed loyal to the show until the very end. I have all 10 seasons on DVD, sitting down here somewhere, and I need to get them, where I can access them. Because I wouldn't mind watching through them again, though it kind of gets boring to watch stuff like that by yourself. Like, not like I'm scared or anything, but like, it's more fun to watch stuff with other people. And my daughter's not really into watching shows and stuff like that, so it's kind of makes it difficult. Like, I want somebody to watch it with, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. I'll survive. There's other things I want to watch more and enjoy by myself anyway. But like, yeah, like the first few seasons of X-Files were incredible. And then I realized, with that celebrity crush, that, you know how, like, back then you could send a letter to them and you get a letter back? But after sending a couple, I realized I'm never gonna get a real response from them. I'm probably never gonna meet them in person. So having a celebrity crush was childish. I realized I needed to grow up and stop doing it, because it's hurting my mental health. Because like I said, I'm not gonna ever get to meet him in person, probably. I don't make the kind of money to go to cons and events like that to where I could meet a celebrity. If I had that kind of money, oh hell yes I would, but... And none of them are gonna friggin' show up on my doorstep and say, hey, you can cross this off your bucket list now. Yeah, like, that's not gonna happen. Yes, it is on my bucket list, and it will stay on my bucket list to meet one of my favorite celebrities. That being said, it's not that I don't find certain celebrities attractive. I just don't have an obsessive celebrity crush like I used to. Because that was, I realize, a childish and immature thing. And that being said, even for adults now, be careful who your heroes are. Because you may see them on the big screen and say, ooh, I really like them. I like the way they act. Their character and how they portray that character, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you may find them on social media. And they may post some positive things, yes. And then turn around and post things that are negative, that hurt your heart, that hurt your mental health. Is that person really worth being called a hero? They do stuff like that? I don't think so. So be careful who your heroes are. Especially if they are or were ever a celebrity crush. Also learn respect, because I know celebrities get drooled all over, all the time. Famous YouTubers, famous Twitch streamers, like, it doesn't matter. It's still considered a celebrity. They get a lot of followers, subscribers, supporters, whatever. There's always gonna be the person, or maybe a few, that have that quote-unquote celebrity crush for them. And Y'all know I hate being hit on because I've said it plenty of friggin' times. If someone like me, who's a loser on Twitch and YouTube, and because I'm not really that pretty, which is why I don't grow, really, or if I do, it's very slowly. If somebody like me doesn't like being hit on, imagine how somebody who is more attractive and who has become famous, like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Mr. Beast, any of them, imagine how they all feel when they get people in their comments drooling all over them and being cringy because they're attracted to them. And broadcasting it. Like, that is one thing, too. Don't broadcast your fantasies. If you have a celebrity crush, keep that shit to yourself. That is all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna drag this on. But that's just my personal opinion. Keep it to yourself. Like I said, I'm not saying they're not attractive. Yes, I find a lot of celebrities attractive. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna friggin' stalk them. That doesn't mean that I would drop my entire life if they asked me out. Because I wouldn't. And I'm not gonna do anything to disrespect them in any way. And that goes also along with those chicks that want to get a hug from their favorite male hero and then turn around and sue them because they know they have money. You don't deserve to have heroes if you're gonna do shit like that. You deserve to be locked in a mental institution. Because there's something fucking wrong with you if you value money more than your hero who's obviously done something positive in your life. You obviously don't care. You just want the money. You care about money, you don't care about your reputation, you don't care about nothing else. And that's really sad, but that's the way the world is, and that's why those of us who are respectful, and who would be respectful if we ever got to meet our heroes in person, would never get that luxury because those heroes can't trust anybody. Because who's to say the next one isn't going to turn around and sue them for sexual harassment when all they really wanted was a hug. And people are going to believe the women over their male hero. It's frustrating. And it's depressing. Because that would be all I'd want is a hug from one of my heroes, but it ain't ever going to happen because so many people before me have fucking ruined that entire thing. Relationships equal trust. Whether it is a hero, a friend, whatever. Trust comes first. And when enough people break that trust, it ruins it for everybody else. For those people that actually are trustworthy. Because I would never do something like that. Like, I'm already not popular as it is. And I would never do something negative to gain popularity. Like the idiots who eat Tide Pods. The ridiculous haters over dumb shit whose videos go viral. Like, I want positivity to be what I'm remembered for. Not something stupid, not something negative, not something hateful. Yes, I hate on Karens, but that's different because they started it. They did it first. So, I'm my own karma getting back at them. That's totally different. So yeah, childhood celebrity crushes into adulthood celebrity crushes. Don't broadcast it. Just don't. Just keep it to yourself. If you're fantasizing about a celebrity, keep it to yourself. Or, if you have a bestie you can trust, share it with them only. Keep it between you guys. Or, if you have a partner in life, you can share your celebrity crushes with your partner. Because if one of you or even both of you are bisexual, you might, share that in common. Heck, I'll even admit when my boyfriend and I one time were talking about that whole thing. He's like, okay, if you were a guy during X-Files, would you have had a crush on Gillian Anderson? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that. Of course I would have. No doubt. They were both very attractive people. It is what it is. That's, because it's like I said, you ain't ever gonna meet them in person unless you get friggin' lucky as shit. So, only share them with the closest people to you. People that you can trust. Don't broadcast it on the internet. Nobody else gives a shit. Just plain and simple. Nobody else gives a shit. Okay. No more celebrity crush topic. Childhood. Another thing that my daughter didn't even know about that a lot of us did back in the day. This will bring back some nostalgic memories for some of y'all. The MASH game. Where you write M-A-S-H across the top. Oh, and we always added Y-T. So, M stands for mansion. A stands for apartment. S stands for shack. H stands for house. Y stands for yacht. And T stands for trailer. So we added YT to the end of it. So what you did, you wrote that across the top. You wrote your crushes, which at the time it was pretty much celebrity crushes. If you had an IRL crush, you could add that to it. You put number of kids and added like a few random, numbers. Pets, the type of pets, pick different types of pets. There was all kinds of topics you could add to the whole thing. You could make it freaking huge, right? So then, the person filling out the paper would start making little marks on the paper and say, okay, tell me when to stop, and then the other person who was actually playing would say stop, and so then you'd count how many marks, and then you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. When you go across the words for MASH, when you get to that number, then you would cross that line, that thing out until there was one left in each category. You'd go through the whole board multiple times till there's one left in each category. And then you would read it back saying, you live in a mansion with Robert Downey Jr., you have 3 kids, a dog, blah, blah, blah. Just as an example. So it's kind of a fun, stupid little thing that we used to play on the bus. And I wish I had saved those papers. Because, you know what, I'm gonna laugh if I'm going through boxes when we do the, What's in the Box podcast. And I actually find some of those. Because I have been trying to get all my old notebooks together, see what's in them. Because I have all kinds of random things. I've actually thrown one of the notebooks out because it's gotten beat up. Didn't have much stuff in it. I took the stuff out. I'm trying to get more clean and organized. But, you never know. We might come across something interesting. I might share with some of what's in some of the notebooks that I do have down here. Just on the side. Another childhood thing that I learned being in school. Never, ever, 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 ever. How many times I have to say it? Never, ever admit to anyone when you are in school, if you have a crush on somebody in school, never admit that shit. Because if they don't feel that way about you in return, which every freaking time, no one's felt that way, they will ignore you like you don't even exist. And let me tell you, that is one of the most heartbreaking feelings in the fucking world when you're a child. Keep it to yourself. Don't ever admit your crushes in school. Just don't. Celebrity, fine, because, you're not going to school with a celebrity. Unless, you find that out later, they become one. But, like, celebrities that are currently on the TV when you're currently in school, that's fine. But don't admit crushes that you have on somebody in school that everybody else knows. Because you get your heart broken every time. At least, my experience. Just don't say it. Keep it to yourself. Because kids don't know how to shut up. Kids don't know how to keep their mouth shut. And I know that very, very well. I was always good at keeping secrets, and I still am. So we had the MASH game. Don't share your school crushes. Just don't. Another stupid thing I did when I was younger. I made a guy requirement list. I don't know if all girls do this, but I know I did this. I don't remember everything on it, and I'm pretty sure I freaking threw it away at some point. Unless, I end up finding it floating around somewhere. So I was trying to rack my brain a little bit this morning as to what I had on that list. And I do remember a few things. Number 1 was no sports. Which, you see where that went. Eagles. Well, all Philly teams. But at the same time, now that I'm older, and I look back on that, I'm like, okay, well then, that's his hobby. Yes, I'll learn some things about it more than I would normally care to know. But that's his hobby. He plays video games that are sports related, I wouldn't, so I can come down here and play mine. So it works out. It's not good to share, when you are in a relationship, it's not good to share everything in common. You gotta have differences. Or you're literally up each other's butt 24/7, and then you're gonna get annoyed with each other. So, but I think part of the reason that I put no sports also is because of seeing movies and shows where a diehard fan just overreacts to their team losing. And even not a diehard fan, like, some of them the anger finally takes control. And it's just like, really, why? Another thing on my guy requirement list back in the day, and we're not going to go into this one because y'all know I don't want this topic negatively put on my channel in any way because, all the words for it are blocked. I wanted somebody who was a Christian. Or at least someone who could accept the fact that I am one even though I don't judge, blah, blah, blah. And not try to change me from that, because I'm not going to for anybody. I'm not giving up what I believe in for anybody. That is, like, my number 1 rule. Yes, a lot of Christians are bad, because they're not really Christians. They're not living the way that they're supposed to be. But that's just me. That's just experience, and I know that's unfortunately been experienced to a lot of people, which is why a lot of people hate Christians, and they think that they're all that way. No, we are not. I will just tell you, no, we are not. So, end of discussion for that one. Another thing I put, no smoking, and I still 100% stand by that one. I don't care if we have a perfect friendship that could easily be a relationship. If you smoke, no, it's not happening. It is not fucking happening. I cannot stand the smell of cigarettes. I just can't. I can't stand it. My grandmother was a chain smoker. My uncle smoked. Like, a lot of my family on mom's side smoked. And it didn't bother me as much when I was younger, but now I guess my brain is too damn sensitive. I get a headache, like, very easily from smelling it. And that goes with smoking anything, really. Now, well, okay, no. I can't. Like, I would rather have somebody that chews tobacco, because that doesn't stink, and my dad has that bad habit, but it never bothered me, because it's like, no, tobacco doesn't stink. And the kind he had was, like, minty, so, like, it never bothered me. And, the sweet pipe tobacco, I like the smell of that. Not saying I would do it, because I'm not doing any tobacco. But if it stinks, keep it away from me. Weed, marijuana, whatever. Keep all that shit away. Don't want nothing to do with it. If it's an occasional cigar, fine. Don't care. I can deal with that. But cigarettes? Fuck no. And then one of those misophonia triggers of mine that really, really drives me nuts is guys that chew with their mouth open. That literally kills my appetite. It literally makes me feel half sick to listen to that. I cannot. Like, I don't know who allowed you to do that, but chewing with your mouth open is very, very disgusting. And those are the only ones I can remember off that list. The chewing with your mouth open, because I've had family members that have done that. And, you know, as a kid, I pretty much just ignored it. But then meeting other adults that do that now, earbuds go in, I gotta block this out now because it drives me fucking crazy. It's just disgusting. Alright, when I was in school, and I went to my home church. Here's the dating game. The Mystic dating game. I kind of dated a guy from church. The only reason we kind of got to know each other was our church did a lockdown thing. Now, our church building was built so that it could have multiple uses. Alright? And it had those chairs that were cushion kind of like this, but like normal chairs. And on the side, there was like the metal thing, and they would lock together, so you could just line up a bunch of them locked together. But if you looked at the floor, you could tell that it was a basketball court. So they had it set up so that they could bring a basketball hoop out, and then when they took all the things down, they could have basketball games inside. And it was, of course, the thinnest possible carpet possible. But so you could still technically play basketball on it. Well, one night, they did a lockdown, and because we didn't really live that far away, said, hell, why not? My cousin and I went, and pretty much after this is when, unfortunately, he gave up on the whole Christianity thing, because between him, this guy that I kind of dated, and me, we were the only three kind of left out of the group. We were the three outcasts of that lockdown. But we found other things to do and hung out together pretty much. So, like, needless to say, it was still kind of fun. But that other guy, like, he was alright. The only thing that kind of bothered me about him at first was he was very quiet. And then I found out he was one of those quiet ones, and then if you said something that you didn't want shared, he would share it anyway. And then I also found out he wanted 8 kids. And I'm just like, bruh, no, that ain't happening ever. I was like, first of all, I had a C-section. Pretty sure your doctors tell you can only have like 1 or 2 C-sections before that's it. Your body ain't taking another one. I forget what the number somebody at my old store told me. Your body can only take so many of those. And I'm like, whoa, having 8 kids, I would have no time for my art. I would have no time for the video games that I like to play. I would have no time for me because all my time would be focused on those kids. And my life would be fucking miserable. This is another reason. Originally, I didn't want kids at all. And 1 was enough. And I decided 1's fine. I don't want any more than that. I want me time, or I'm gonna go stark raving fucking mad. Because I am an artist! And I want to focus on that! And I want to keep doing that because it makes me happy. Not saying taking care of kids doesn't make me happy, but I want to be me too. Not just be thanklessly depended on by other people. Because I feel like being a mom sometimes, not gonna lie, and I know there's other moms like this, that feel like it's a thankless job. It really does. I feel like we're not appreciated. But, not talking about that. We'll stay away from that. But yeah, this guy wanted 8 kids. Yeah, let's just say that relationship didn't work. I was like, no, I can't do the 8 kids thing. I'm like, no offense, but the dude's boring. Like, he was just very boring and really didn't talk much, and it's like, I want somebody I can have nice, deep, meaningful conversations with. Not that's just quiet 24/7, but then opens his mouth as soon as I say something, and I don't want that shared. But he shares it. Without finding out if it's okay or not. Like, no, nope. Yep. That didn't work. Now, also when I was in school, I dated a guy, kind of. We always sat together on the bus. And it was kind of one of those, like, not really overly like, it wasn't a physical kind of thing. Like, we just sat together and talked. He always smelled like cigarette smoke. But his whole family did, so I was just like, alright, whatever. He was a good kid. Like, he was a good guy. And then when I was telling my parents about him, this is the funny part, they had found out that they knew him and his family. Because one of the churches they used to go to, that family went to. And when he was really little, they remember him running up and down the aisle and being disruptive in the middle of the sermon. And parents didn't do anything about it. So I was like, well, that's, him being a little boy. But yeah, they should have done something about it. I mean, granted, that probably would have been more disruptive for, like, the first time, but let's just say that didn't really last, either. I don't remember why. Like, a lot of these relationships, I don't even remember why they ended, but they ended. And then the fun when the internet came out and we all had dial-up and we had that get off the phone, I need to use the internet, or get off the internet, I need to use the phone, blah blah blah. One of the first things I discovered on the internet was Yahoo chat rooms, and then you could hook that stupid little program up to them called Cheetah Chat to make your fonts different colors. And one of the chat rooms that I went into a lot, there was an X-Files one, I think. I know there was an X-File one and there was a sci-fi and fantasy. I can't remember exactly which one of those it was, but it was one of those. I've met a couple guys in those chat rooms that I took a liking to. One of them lived in Australia. and he made jewelry. Now, he didn't really make a lot of money off his jewelry, but he did send me a couple opals that he had cut to put in jewelry. I think I still have them somewhere. And he was literally one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But I was pretty much with him when I met my boyfriend. Now, there's another guy from the chat rooms before him who lived in New York, and Mom was actually watching our conversations. Like, we were just talking about normal stuff. And he was real nice too, but the only bad thing, he had been married at one point. And his mom had grown such an attachment with his ex-wife, she refused to accept another woman into his life, which kind of threw up a red flag for me. And I was just like, oh, that sucks ass. Yeah, no. But anyway, the guy in Australia, I was with him when I met my boyfriend, where we met at work in Jennersville. And so I told the guy in Australia, I said, I met somebody in real life that I want to get to know better. Like, no offense, I still care for you, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that we're long distance, neither of us make money to travel to ever meet each other, that really makes things hard. Like, I don't know how people do these long distance relationships and wait years to meet the person. Like, I don't know if it's just young desperation or what, but I don't know how people do it. Like, I just couldn't do it. And he 100%, like, he was the most understanding person I ever met, and he understood, and he wasn't mad, he wasn't, I mean, he was probably upset, but probably hiding it. He was respectful about it. And it's like, that's the kind of guy you want. Someone that's gonna be happy for you no matter what you choose. And, like, yeah, if things were different, like, if I ever got the kind of money to go to Australia and meet him, like, that would be different, but I wouldn't mind visiting. I have other friends that live there. Well, I know I have one artist friend who I haven't seen stream in a hot minute, but if y'all know her, Jen's wild about art. See, if I were ever to go to Australia, she'd be the first person I'd look up. She would be 100% the first person I'd look up to meet. And then, of course, I'd want to go see Rosie the Shark. Down at Crystal World. But, because as far as I know, things are still on hold with that, but, you know, it's a frustrating thing that's going on. But that would literally be my only reasons for ever going to Australia. And I'd want to try, you know, some of the foods and stuff they have down there. Because I see so many of the things on GMM, and I'm just like, that's from Australia? I want to try that. It's like some of their stuff. Well, I mean, that's where Tim Tams came from. I did meet, even before these relationships, I met a girl that was a friend in Australia. And we kind of became, in a sense, pen pals at the same time. We sent each other stuff. She sent Tim Tams before they ever became part of our shelf cookie staple. And then I sent her some, like, Hers chips and some other things that we have here. It's like, I'm sure, you know, rules for shipping that stuff overseas is a lot stricter now. But, hey, it worked out great. It was fun. And I don't know whatever happened to her, but hopefully she's still around, and I do miss her. I do sometimes miss Yahoo chat rooms. I had some interesting experiences in there, but we won't go into that because none of the other ones were relationship based. The only weird thing that I've ever encountered was one guy who was it was a really nice guy to just, talk to about whatever, had a fetish for kneecaps, and I'm like, okay, that's an odd one, but still not as bad as like fart fetishes and. But anyway, all right, past the chat rooms, playing World of Warcraft because it's also online interactions. My boyfriend encountered someone who did not know how to play the game. I started playing the game with him. And him and I were questing together. And then it finally got to a point where I'm like, alright, I think I got this. I'm good on my own. And part of that was he was getting annoyed with me at making stupid mistakes. But you also gotta remember I was just learning, and he, at the time, didn't have the patience with me, but that's okay, because I'm kind of used to that. So, he starts another character, and he meets this other chick that does not know how to play. She did not know anything about doing the quests. She was just killing stuff for experience. Got her invited to the guild. We both became friends with her. The guild asked him to specifically help her. And I got pissed off because he was being very patient with her, but he was never patient with me like that. And because of a certain celebrity crush of his that is no longer alive, and who's actually not even part of our freaking time era, who I absolutely fucking hate, and I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but I don't really care because I'm gonna say it. Marilyn Monroe. Can't fucking stand her. And then when I found out that she hardly ever bathed, alright, I'm gonna be sick. Y'all guys that have crushes on her, there is something wrong with your fucking brain. Ugh. She kind of looked like her. But I didn't really think about that at the time. Because she was one of my friends, and yes, I'd help her with stuff, and he would help her with stuff. And I just kind of ignored that whole thing of him being more patient with her than me. Kind of just let it go out the window. Well, that building up was not a good thing. Because it did get to me. We joined another guild from another server. Their server, the raiding part of it was not very active, and they switched over to our server. And because he was giving her all the attention, it kind of made me feel lonely. So one of the guys from that other server / guild started hanging out with me. And let's just say things went too far. Yes, I cheated. But the story is not over yet. I did not care for him really at all. It was a jealousy. Actually, it was probably jealousy and revenge, because there's 4 types of cheating if you think about it. I've come up with 4 reasons for somebody to cheat: revenge, jealousy, The fact that you really find that you love that person because you connect with them the way that they are your soulmate, you just made a mistake before. And then there's those insecure and unsure of what they want type people who just keep cheating and cheating and cheating. Those are the cheaters that never stop. Because you hear that phrase, once a cheater, always a cheater. No. It depends on what kind of type of cheating they were doing. If it's revenge or jealousy, they'll stop. They're not going to keep doing it unless you do something to make them jealous or for revenge. So I was jealous of my boyfriend spending time with this other chick. So I started spending time with Phil. His name. And it got out of hand. Like I said, I had no feelings for him whatsoever. I just wanted attention and I wasn't getting it from who was supposed to be giving it to me. So, yes, I did make a mistake in cheating. But when he found out, he did revenge and was cheating with that girl. I ended mine, and that guild went back to their old server. Never heard from him again. He kept doing his. But I just let it go. Just like, whatever. Even though, deep down, it's what caused me to have suicidal thoughts. Caused me to wreck a car, basically wrecking it so that literally I was upside down in it. The fact that I was not hurt was a miracle, but that's how depressed I was. And then something snapped in me, and at this time we had our daughter. She was 3 years old. So not old enough to understand any of this. And something snapped at me and said, in my brain, I heard, fuck him, fuck what he's doing, that's hurting you continuously, even though you stopped, you had no feelings for it, but he obviously still has feelings for her, because he kept it going. Eventually, she broke, years down, maybe a year or so later, she finally stopped communicating with him. Because it got to the point where she unfriended me. She unfriended me because she was the one that unfriended me because I switched to another server. Because I wanted to be on one that was more active. And she just kind of made that excuse, and then also the fact that, the two of them were flirty-turdy. But, I just ignored him and all that bullshit, and I focused on my daughter, because that's what that voice in my head said do. Fuck him, fuck the way he's treating you, focus on your kid. Your kid is what matters most. Truth. Focus on taking care of her. And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, it did help. But I was still lonely as fuck. I mean, in a way, not, because I had her. It's not quite the same, because I couldn't just sit down and talk to her. I needed a friend I could talk to, but I didn't have it. But anyway, that chick's gone. I don't know if she ever contacted him again. Don't care. It's whatever. I'm at that point now where if I ended up alone, I'd probably go by. I'd probably end up with a woman because, I don't know. It depends. It would totally depend, because, like I said before, don't tell somebody if you would date them. Even if it's one of your online guy friends or girlfriends. If they don't have that feeling for you, then you're gonna make them uncomfortable as fuck. That's why I don't, I don't believe in online dating fully, but, you gotta have the friendship first. Because if you can't trust somebody as a friend, how are you gonna trust them as more? The friendship needs to be how it starts and grow and see once it's growing if you feel that it can go beyond that friendship and still be successful. Because what's more important? Starting a friendship, taking it to relationship status, and then one stupid thing makes the entire thing go sour, and then you never want to hear from them again. Or just keeping it a friendship that's still going. I'll take the friendship that's still going any day. I would not want to wreck a friendship for a relationship if there might be something that could hinder it. Just how I feel. But yeah. 4 types of cheating. If you agree with those, revenge, jealousy, or it is your soulmate and you made the mistake the first time. And insecure and unsure of what they want. Because there's a lot of people like that, and I get it. It takes us a while to find out what we want. Because we still don't even know ourselves. We're always growing, we never stop. They say, oh, once you're 18, you grow up and you figure shit out. No. I don't care how fucking old you get, you still keep growing. You still find shit out about yourself. And you still find shit out about other people. The more you live, the more you learn, the more you grow. That is how it goes. So there is my cheating story confession. Another WoW instance involving moi. I was questing one time, like usual, enjoying myself. This chick comes along and is helping me with a quest I'm doing. Or we just end up helping each other, right? We real friend ID each other. So we're just, chatting while we're doing our things. Days go by, whatever. Found out she wanted me. And I'm just like, no, I'm straight. I don't float that way. And I tried to tell her that. I said, I have a man. I don't roll that way. I'm sorry. And she just kind of ignored it. And she was being very flirty with the way she talked, like mushy. And I hate mushy shit. I hate mushy talk. That should be kept private. Yes, it was being kept private, but for somebody that I don't have those feelings for, though they have those feelings for me, it made me extremely uncomfortable. There goes back to our celebrity crushes. Don't give your celebrity crush, cringy nicknames that's gonna make them uncomfortable. Don't admit you're obsessed with them, because it's gonna make them uncomfortable. And then you're not respecting them in that way. How are they supposed to respect you back? And only the good ones still, don't up and freaking block you for it. Because I know me, you flirt with me, you're getting blocked and you're getting on my damn Karen Voodoo board. I'm not gonna be nice about it. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna be nice about you flirting with me. Because I don't like that kind of attention. I don't. It is disrespectful. And this is what this chick was doing. She just would not fucking stop. After I said, look, I hate mushy stuff. I'm not gonna respond to you in that way because I don't feel that way about you. I am not a lesbian. I do not float that way. Especially since, number one, I have no fucking idea what you look like. Not that it matters, but still that kind of helps. If you're trying to get in a relationship with somebody, you want to at least know what they look like. We've only ever messaged each other in WoW. That was it. We don't have profile pictures in WoW like Facebook or wherever you can actually put your selfie. And I don't do it anyway. But still. You don't know what I look like. You don't know what my voice sounds like, because sometimes that can have an impact. Not saying that it should, not saying that looks should, but still. You want to know a little more about that person before you go jumping in to having a crush on them. Because she pretty much just jumped in, I guess. Desperation? I don't fucking know. But it just creeped me out, weirded me out. And when she finally realized and got the hint that I'm not interested, I don't want this kind of attention. I logged on one day and she was no longer in my friends list. I was like, thank God. It was one of those instances where I was dumped, but I was happy to be dumped because I did not want, like, no, I don't want some chick on WoW that I don't fucking know flirting with me. It it was just weird. It was very, very uncomfortable. Okay. Trying to make, see, I actually wrote stuff down this time. The other ones, well, the other one I had written on my phone, like the former one. The first one I didn't write anything down at all. But this is why composition books are wonderful. And they're cheap. So it's like, you only pay $1 for the damn thing. Unless you get it around back to school and they're like 50 cents. My relationship instance on WoW. Not directed at me, but let's just say I helped somebody. And this one is legendary. So listen up. You're gonna love it. So I had a friend, I think it was Area 52? Yeah, I think it was the server, it was either Area 52 or Zul'jin. It was one of the two main Horde servers. This girl would, chill out in Orgrimmar. She would type stuff in trade chat, and it was always in all caps, and it was kind of just, it was kind of a form of goofy, fun trolling, if you want to think about it that way. And it's pretty much the entertainment of Orgrimmar on that server. A lot of people didn't even know she was female until it got spilled one time. Her and I had become friends before a lot of people knew. Hi, Poppy. Love you. And then once that information got out, she started getting this creepy-ass stalker who would try to find her and hang out around her in Orgrimmar. At the time, she had a boyfriend. They worked different, shifts. So, a lot of times, he wasn't on game when she was. She had obviously told him about this creepy stalker who kept, bugging her and making her uncomfortable and whatever. And of course she told me about it. And so one day I get on, she's on, and then she whispers to me, she's like, that stalker found me and he's hanging out by me. And he's making me uncomfortable, and I was like, I have an idea. I said, I have one male character here on Horde, was a male Blood Elf Death Knight. And I gave him a really badass transmog set. I know it was black and red, I forget what the pieces were. But it was a black and red set, and it was freaking awesome as shit. And quite intimidating, too. So why don't I pop his transmog on, and I'll pretend to be your boyfriend and come chase this douchebag off. So she's like, ooh, good idea. Because he doesn't know who my boyfriend is or the tunes that he has. And I'm like, okay, good. That makes it even better. Because he won't freaking know. So, I did exactly that. Because she invited me to group so that I could find her quick. And I basically told this guy, yo, leave my woman alone. You're making her uncomfortable. You're creeping her out. I'm her man. Knock it off. Like, basically like that. It worked. It chased the dingbat off. And, you know, her and I were busting up laughing over the whole thing when he left. So it's like, that's what friends are for. That is what friends are for. Yeah, pretending. See, you can pretend to be anybody on the internet. This is why you can't trust online relationships. You can't trust fucking anybody on the internet. You really can't. No, I haven't heard from her in a long time. Haven't seen her on. I don't know what happened. I guess shit happened in life and she couldn't play anymore, couldn't afford to play anymore. And then I got people from work messaging me. It was actually my supervisor messaging me something funny. Alright, yes. I'll give her the laughing emoji just cause. It was one of the, like, you know how we get funny names on our stickers? Sometimes. People do it on purpose. One of them was D Butts. We got B Bitch the other day. That's hilarious. See, we at least get some and then the other day I got one that's Sweet Man and another one that said Cranky Man. Spelled kind of weird, but that might be a real name. I don't know. So another WoW friend told me her story. And well, I mean, I was friends with her during her story. Trying to think. The guy she was married to was married to her sister or something before her. And then the sister died, and then he married her. Now, interesting thing about her, she was in an accident a long time ago and lost her hearing. So, she was used to obviously playing WoW with no sound. So, she didn't have hearing for most of her life. Like, a good chunk of her life. Things were finally starting to get better. She finally got a hearing aid. She could finally hear her kids speak, her husband speak, and could start to learn how to actually talk again. And was pregnant, I think, with their third child or something. Woke up Thanksgiving morning. He was gone. He left her with her kids. Now, her two older sons, one of them had made a mistake of getting married, had kids, like twins or something. And the wife became a deadbeat and didn't want to take care of the kids. So it was stuck on her son, the dad. They also lived with her mom. Like, she had her mom, too, to help. But her husband left her. Now, they both worked at a gym. It was a married couple that owned a gym. They worked for them. The husband left with the wife of the owner of the gym. And they went to Puerto Rico together. Do you imagine waking up on a holiday morning and you're left by yourself? Your other half just takes off with your boss's wife or whatever. But then when she started talking to me more about her husband, I realized that yeah, he's an asshole. And I hope karma bites him in the ass for that shit. For leaving her pregnant and all that. But she's better off without him, because one of the things that she told me that should never happen in a relationship is the other half controlling any aspect of that relationship or that life. Her husband controlled what they all ate. She had never in her life tried bacon. He was always trying to stay fit and perfect health and whatever. The only meat they really ate was chicken, and it's like, after a while, I mean, yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with chicken, but after a while, that shit would get boring to me. Like, you can only do so much. And I told her, I was like, well, then the next time you go shopping, you need to get yourself a pack of bacon and try it for me and tell me what you think. Who cares if you gain a few extra pounds? You need to live it up, girl, because he controlled that, and that was not a good thing. Now, it was funny because at one point she had even asked him if he wanted to play the game with her, and he's like, no, that's your thing. See, it's like, at least he let her have her hobby that made her happy. Now, granted, with all the kids had to take care of, it's, not easy for her to get on very much, but we're still friends, obviously. Like, I'm never going to stop being her friend. And I'm 100% always going to support her. And that's one of those reasons I'll stick with the guys, for the most part, that have dad bods, because they don't care as much what they eat. And I don't want somebody that works out either, that's gotta be perfect, like, health freak. Like, no. I want my damn bacon, I want my damn steak, I want whatever I want when I want. Life's too fucking short to try to be perfect, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to. I've gotten to the point I don't want to. But she loves bacon. I'm like, I knew you would. Like, I knew you would. Now you can try all the shit that he wouldn't let you try and just enjoy life. Because sometimes we call different foods our happy foods because they make us happy. It's like that saying, chocolate's better than sex. Yeah, sometimes. Depends on what chocolate it is. Anyway. So yeah, this is why guys who work out and guys who are controlling of what you eat are big turnoffs. Actually, basically any guy that says submissive, that's an instant red flag for me. Because it's like, I don't know what you want submissive about, but when you say that word, I don't want to fucking know. Bye. And that comes to our next little story involving me. Oh, and I think more than just me. Now, we're not supposed to talk bad about Twitch streamers, but I'm not giving the name of this Twitch streamer. I'm just gonna say this. We started off as friends. I regret being financially supportive of him. And I know another bigger streamer regrets supporting him because he's proven to be a real scumbag. Like I said, we're not saying who it is. But in supporting his streams and listening to him talk and, you know, about, because he's talked about past relationships in his streams. And he did say that dreaded word, submissive. And when I heard that, I'm just like, uh-oh. And I started noticing that other women in his community weren't showing up to his streams anymore. Because they usually showed up when I showed up. And when they started not showing up, I realized something was going on behind the scenes. And it was a lot worse than... Because it got to the point where he wanted more from me, and I'm like, no, I'm in a relationship. I'm not dropping my life for you. I'm not dropping my life for anybody. If God takes my man out of my life, then there's obviously a reason for it. But I am sticking with my man right now until that day comes. If that ever does come. Like, I ain't dropping my life for anybody. I don't care who they are. And when I pretty much gave that no, it was like that day in high school when I admitted to having a crush on a certain other student who was in a grade above me, and then got ignored like I didn't exist. Because he did the same thing, but yet we're going from a 18-year-old or 16, 17, 18-year-old to an almost 30-year-old doing that. Like he's still in fucking high school. And yes, I made that. Yes, this is one of those instances also where I made a promise and I fucking broke it. Because you waved the red flag right in my fucking face. He waved that red flag in my face. I was saying, if I can't have my way, then I'm gonna act like you don't exist. Okay, bye. Forget my damn promise to you. Like I said, not saying who it is. If y'all want to know, you can message me privately. But I don't want anybody... I'm also probably not even going to tell anyone privately, because I don't want people showing up to his channel and, you know, bombarding him with shit, because it's in the past. Leave it there. I made a mistake. I'm not the only one that made that mistake of trusting somebody that I shouldn't have trusted. I learned a lesson. And I've made that rule. Can't be friends first, then just don't waste your time with me. Here's something I kind of didn't want to get into a discussion on, but you know what? Because it has to do with relationships, I might as fucking well. Now, if you're all on Facebook, you notice on Facebook sometimes we see different memes or posts about the Zodiac. What sign are you? What personality do you have based on your sign? And all that shit is pretty much hogwash. I don't believe in it. Some of it is accurate. I'm not gonna lie, some of it is accurate, but I don't. I just know what I am. I'm an Aquarius, and I know one thing that's spoken about Aquarius is true. Because there is one that says something about your sign is compatible with this sign as far as relationships go. No, that has nothing to fucking do with it. It has everything to do with likes, dislikes, personality, etc. It has nothing to do with your fucking sign. But one thing about being who I am, and I know I'm not, Aquarius isn't the only sign, because I've known others. We don't like to argue. Because when we argue, we say things we don't mean. We just say it out of straight up anger. It's instant anger. Anger, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. And then when we learn that wisdom of, alright, I'm not going to argue anymore, because every time an argument starts, when we're not the ones that start it, it's usually over something stupid with our partners. It's usually something really fucking stupid and has no need to be argued over. I've hit that wisdom where if he starts an argument and then drags me into it, or starts getting angry about something and then drags me into it, I say nothing. I just silent. Because if I argue, first of all, I'm gonna say shit I don't mean. And I'm done doing that. Because every time I've done that in the past, multiple times later, when other arguments have come up, those things that I've said come up in those that whole discussion. So it's stabbing me in the heart with the shit that I've said that I've already said that I didn't mean, because you angered me enough for me to say it. And then being reminded of it constantly is mental trauma. But at the same time, it's also mental trauma to not argue and let that person think they won that argument. Because you just refuse to say anything. But I'd rather let them think they won, even if I know I'm right. And I know I'm not always. But I'd rather that than be reminded of something I said that I didn't mean. Because you started it. You made me say something I didn't want to say. But out of anger, I said it because it was the first thing that, flew out of my mouth. Because when you're that level of angry, you don't think before you speak. It just comes out. So then if I get blamed for stupid shit, like I've been blamed all my life for stupid shit, we'll use an example, my mom's done that. She's blamed me for dumb shit all the time. And there have been times where when she gets angry, Dad and I just leave the house for a little bit. I mean, I could do that here, but I don't. We gotta close this soon. I mean, a podcast can be longer, but just plain and simple, I've gotten to the point I don't argue anymore. I don't want to fucking argue with you. You want to feel like you're right, fine. Don't bring me into it. Because the other night, he was yelling at the kid for her grades. Her math grade's the worst. And then he woke me up to drag me into it. I had nothing to say. I can't say anything. I fucking failed algebra too! And it's like I said in that other video. You don't need algebra in the real fucking world unless you become a fucking engineer or something. And it's like my work wife said. Algebra should be for college only. They should not be shoving it down kids' throats in school. Because when they do it in school, they try to rush them through the damn book. Don't stop and try to see if everybody's understood it before they go into the next freaking lesson. I had a professor, it wasn't even officially a professor in college, actually stop and make sure everybody got it before she went to the next thing. And I'm like, you're the only teacher I've ever had that's made learning algebra to an extent easy. Why can't they all do that? I know everybody's got a different style of teaching, but like, it should just not be in school. You need to be teaching kids how to budget finances and shit like that. That's not as hard. Business math, people. Business math. Anyway, I didn't say anything about it. And then, of course, that fucked up my sleep that night. I was just like, yeah, I know you're pissed about our grades, but some people just have a tendency of over-exaggerating things. Because technically math was the only one that there was an F in. The other ones were D. Well, the only other bad one was a D. It wasn't even an F. It was a D. I think it was history. It was social studies. Whatever. It was history for me in school. They always... Public schools versus private schools is just weird. It's like, at least my school was a private school and they had the sympathy to understand that, you know, a couple of us couldn't fucking learn algebra or any of that weird ass shit. And they gave us math courses that we could do. So that we didn't have to fucking fail school. Like, public schools need to be a little more sympathetic for that kind of stuff, but that's just my opinion. Point in case. Don't drag me into an argument. Because I ain't gonna say shit, and I'm gonna let you think you won. Even if I know I'm right, because you don't want to fucking listen to me. Because that's how it goes. Nobody ever wants to listen to my side of the story. They just want to yell to get it out of their system, and they want somebody to argue with, but they also want to be right. Isn't that a narcissist? I don't know. But, like, it doesn't happen a lot. Just occasionally over shit, it happens. But I mean, when you're also raised in a household where the dad is a narcissist, that can latch on, I guess, to an extent. So I can't... Yes, it can depress me at the moment, but I just kind of learned to live with it. Now, as far as online relationships go, my opinion. And then I guess we should get into the whole work life thing. Online relationships. You flirty, creepy, fucking weirdos in women's comments when they comment on a post or a video or whatever, and you're creepy flirting and what the fuck is wrong with your desperate weird ass? Why do you do that? Nobody wants a creepy ass flirty weirdo in their comments. Can y'all just not? Like, ew, like, what is your fucking problem? Why do you leave flirty messages to women you don't even fucking know? Why do you do that? And it is usually guys. Especially on Facebook. Like, why are y'all trying to flirt with people online like that? I don't... My brain cannot comprehend. Because it's so stupid to be that way. Learn that you're never gonna get a relationship that way. You want a woman in your life? You need to be friends first of all. That is my rule. You become friends. Because, see, I'm kind of against the whole online dating thing. In a sense, I'm against it. Because when I started dating him when I started talking to him and he had found out I was with that dude from Australia, and I told him, I was like, I ended things with him, are still friends, like, because, like, he wasn't rude about it or nothing. He's like, online relationships are stupid. No, granted, that was a long time ago. That was 2004. That was a long ass time ago. Yeah, and then of course, the shit still kept happening. Anyway. But, like, to find a real relationship with somebody online, it's gotta start. Because if y'all ever heard the sound or the song To Catch a Predator by Insane Clown Posse, you don't know who's behind that computer. Is that really a 12-year-old girl? Or is it some dude pretending to be one so he can murder you? As the song goes. You don't fucking know who's behind that computer. You really don't. Just saying. Now you learn who you can trust and who you can't trust on the internet. But never jump into people's comments, videos, whatever, posts with flirty comments. Like, you just get your ass blocked immediately most of the time. Unless somebody's really stupid enough to fall for it, but guess what? That's on them. If they're stupid enough to fall for it. There are only... I want to say, as far as the guys that I know online, that I'm friends with online, there's at the most 3. That I would ever potentially consider anything beyond friendship with. And even that is a very rocky fine line, because there's still a lot about them I don't know. There's probably still a lot of shit about me they don't know. I don't know. I just don't really trust the whole online dating thing. I mean, if it works for some people, it works for some people. If it works for you, it works for you. It's fine. Just be careful. That's all I'm just gonna leave you. If I'm gonna leave you with anything, be careful. Be very, very fucking careful. And, like, if these friendships were ever to go beyond friendships, meet in person would be number 1. And probably the most important. Other than that, like I said, all relationships need to start as friends. If you want one to last. If you're one of those, jumping around. Gross, but that's on you. Oh yeah. This is also another reason why I say friends first. Another story. Somebody at my other store that I worked with. We were friends. A guy. And y'all know one of my turnoffs is guys who don't find farts funny. Yes, they do exist. Because this guy was like that. And when you're friends with somebody that doesn't like something that you like, to, maintain that friendship, you have to remember that when you're around them, you have to switch off the part of your brain that wants to talk about that thing or find humor in that thing, like for me, finding farts funny. I had to switch that off, you know, being around him. And that made me realize that I would never date somebody like that, because being around a person where you have to do that for their sake, it makes you feel like a part of you's missing. You can't be yourself around them because of that one thing that they don't like, that you find entertaining or that you like, because you have to avoid that topic. This is why you become friends first, so you find that shit out about somebody before you go jumping into a relationship and then find it out and you're just like, this ain't gonna work. And then that makes you jump into a relationship, find that shit out later after things have gotten serious, and that just makes the breakup even that much worse. This is why you gotta be friends first. Find all the likes, dislikes, pet peeves, hell, fetishes, whatever. Find all that shit out while you're friends. Because then, and only then, you can determine, is this person gonna be good enough for me as a lifelong partner or not? Can I give up this thing in my life? Can I still be happy without this thing in my life being around them? No. Finding farts funny? I'll never stop finding farts funny. I'll never stop being immature in that sense, and I don't want to be with somebody who's gonna try to force me to be that way. Like, that's just no. It's like, my boyfriend doesn't joke about them as much as I do, but he still finds them funny. So it's like, it may not be as extreme as I am, but he still finds them funny and we still joke about that shit. It's just, we have our limit. So it's like, it doesn't ruin the relationship. It doesn't ruin anything. We still joke about it. We just don't go overboard, which I would never want to go overboard anyway. Because our sense of humor varies across other things. It's not just finding farts funny, obviously. But, like, we get each other's humor because we grew up in the same time era. So, like, it makes sense. Alright. Work besties. Work wife. Work bro? I don't know. I don't know how the guys do it. I don't know how the guys roll with it. But for women, work wife. There's a meme that says, like, don't ever let your, like, best girlfriend IRL meet your work wife. Even though I already did meet my work wife's IRL one. I mean, some of us have several anyway. Like, what the hell? Like, pretty much a work wife is defined as somebody of the same sex that you connect with in a lot of different ways. You find humor in a lot of the same shit. And you just bond. You bond as women. And women should bond. Like, it should be a bonding thing. Because you gotta learn, too, the women in where you work who are drama and not good for your mental health versus the ones who are. And the ones who are usually the ones who have understand your pain, understand what you're going through, understand your feelings, can relate, have similar taste in movie, music, nostalgia. I guess childhood nostalgia. Like, you share a lot of those things in common. But yeah. It's not always easy finding a work wife. Like, I kind of had one at my other store who went to school to be a nurse. And obviously, we're still friends. We don't talk to each other like we used to, obviously, when we were at work. But doesn't mean we're not friends. Even though, we're not the best at keeping in touch, we're still there for each other. We still care about each other. Life's rough, life's busy, and that's just how it is. And it's funny because any trauma that you've dealt with in your past, finding a work wife really helps you heal. Because my current work wife, like, no offense to any of the other friends that I've made at work, has been number one, 100% the best of all of them. Because she does understand more than anyone else I've ever met in my life what I've been through. We understand each other. And, like, you can even say cousins can be, like, that close. Well, to be fair, even cousins can sometimes grow up before you. Because just like my best friend next door, my cousin, who was also a year younger than me, kind of matured before I did. So I ended up hanging out with my youngest female cousin, who felt more to me like a little sister. We had sleepovers and all that other stuff, but I already told you guys all that. Another podcast, but and now my boyfriend's one cousin, he texts him all the time. They still, like, I don't really talk to any of my cousins as much anymore because they're busy with their kids and their lives and whatever. So, like, it's fine. But he and his one cousin are still, like, they're more like brothers. Like, they always talk. And that's a good thing. Granted, they don't get to see each other like, they used to, which kind of sucks, but the whole pandemic bullshit kind of ruined some of that because they were doing D&D nights at their house, and the whole pandemic thing kind of killed that for a lot of people. But I mean, they still tag each other and stuff on Facebook, text each other stuff, so it's like, I guess you call it like a bromance, kind of. Like Han Solo and Chewbacca. But yeah, having a work wife, or just any female friend at work that, I can relate to. And I'll admit, no offense to my old store, no offense to the people there, but I found a lot more at the store I'm at now. And I feel more at home there. I mean, it is a lot bigger store, so that might have something to do with it. It's just the atmosphere, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Since nobody's in chat to discuss relationships, we'll just leave you with this. Remember, be careful out there. Be careful who you trust. Always be friends first. Let that friendship grow. Don't rush into things, or you're gonna regret something. And don't as I told a friend at work this, who is a lot younger than me, but a guy, I told him, because we were talking about different foods and, like, stuff we like, and the other one goes ew at or whatever. I'm like, it's like, I told him, I was like, if you ever go looking for your life partner, one thing to remember, don't have everything in common with them. Make sure some stuff you don't have in common. Especially when it comes to food, because we were talking about snacks, right? I have snacks that he doesn't like. He has some snacks that I don't care for. So at least that way we don't have to worry about the other person eating our snacks. Not saying don't have completely different taste palettes, but have some things that are not the same. And the same thing with your hobbies and interests. Yes, you can have some that are the same. You can both love Star Wars, whatever. Like, but don't have everything the same. Because it's like, I don't care about sports. I know more about sports than I ever cared to learn. But that's his hobby. I have mine. I do art. And now he's done some drawing too, but he's not as passionate about it as I am. I was never an athletic person, so that's why I'm just like, meh. But, anyway, that's pretty much, I think, all I have to say about relationships. Unless something comes up in one of these other topics, or other things. Because, like, we could go into family, like, more family relationships, but I'm not going to. Is there anyone on that I can read? No. We're going to call it for today. And thank y'all for listening to this podcast and my stories and opinions and my little confession. If you end up watching this on YouTube and they don't turn the comments off, please let me know in the comments what y'all think. Hopefully next Wednesday we can start you know what I might do for Wednesday's podcast? We can do kind of every other. We'll do a What's in the Box one Wednesday and then just a normal podcast the next. Or however I feel like doing it. I don't know. But hopefully by next Wednesday we'll be able to start or very soon start What's in the Box. Hey, I might even do it Sunday, who knows, if I get the containers for that. But I will keep you guys posted on Twitter, which I will not ever call X because I still think it's stupid. Thank y'all for listening. See y'all next time. Love y'all. Stay safe out there. Happy Valentine's Day.